Hi folks, welcome to another Qashqai video. Before we get started on today's one, which is a little bit different, I just want to say a massive thank you to my members, Shane Cook, Darren Lynch and Chris Owen. You guys are awesome. If you wanted to join them and get things like getting to access this video 24 hours before anyone else, and get things like shout outs in the videos, get status, photo and video updates from me and some other stuff, just check out the memberships that are available. If you just see the join button below and just have a look. I really appreciate it if you would join us. But for now, let's get into this video. Today's a little bit different, like I say. It's going to be my top 5 features of my Nissan Qashqai, the J11 model. So yours may be slightly different to mine because mine is a Tecna model, so there's different levels, as you may know, different specifications. But these are my personal top 5. You may have completely different opinion to me, which is fine, and if you do, I'd love to hear what your opinion is. If you think I'm completely wrong and I've got totally wrong and to stick on some of the things, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear it. There will be a bottom 5 or a top 5 things that I dislike about my Qashqai. That'll be in a future video, probably next week. I'll bring that one out. But I thought I'd start with the positives because you don't tend to hear many positives about certain cars. So let's crack on straight into it. So at number 5 is the panoramic sunroof, or roof, because it isn't really an opening sunroof. It is just a big piece of glass. Now the reason I like this is, one, because it's actually really nice, especially for people that are in the back of the car, because it makes the car feel so airy. Obviously it provides a huge amount of light. I don't know the exact size of it, I probably should have measured it, but I think probably front to back it's something like 4 or 5 foot. It's quite a long piece of glass. It is obviously tinted to stop UV rays coming through and you're sitting there getting sunburn, but it is really nice. My son, who's 6, he loves it, unless it's really sunny. He doesn't like the sun on his face, but he does love it. He was like, "Daddy, can you open the roof, please?" And I press the button. So yeah, the roof I really like. I like the fact that you can also have it open a certain amount and close it a certain amount. So if, like I say, my son in the back doesn't want it open, I can close it sort of 60% of the way, and us in the front will still have it slightly open. That's all done by the button above the center console. So at number 4 is something that is sort of specific to me. It's 4 and 2. So you might know what's coming from number 2. But the main thing at number 4 is the driving height and the position. The fact that you can really change the position that the driver's seat's at. There's a lot of adjustment. The buttons on the side, if yours has the electric adjustment, I think some may have a manual adjustment. The buttons at the side, you can do the seat base up and down. You can do the seat base obviously back and forward. You can do the seat back, you can recline it, you can bring it forward, and there's also a lumbar support on the left-hand side, or the passenger side of the driver's seat. I know that some models have that on the passenger seat as well, but unfortunately mine doesn't, being an early model. And like I say, also the driving height, you do sit obviously higher on the road, even though the car is really a hatchback sized car in its general dimensions. The only major difference is the height of it. So having that extra height is really nice, because obviously you can see a lot further ahead on the road. If you're in traffic behind normal cars, you can just get that little bit of advantage being able to see what's ahead, which I really like. So that's number 4. For number 3, I've gone for the driver aids. Now there's some of these that aren't brilliant in the way that they work, but the fact that they are there I really like. So there's 3 main driver aids on mine. Again, yours may differ. The first one is the lane departure warning. Now that uses the side cameras underneath your wing mirrors to monitor the white lines of the lane. So it's mainly useful for a motorway or dual carriageway, a main road. And if you were to swerve out of the white line markings without indicating, the car will give you an audible beep beep noise just to warn you, and the icon on the dashboard will flash. The second driver aid is the blind spot warnings. Now they are the 2 little lights you may have on the inside of your wing mirrors each side, and what happens is they use a radar detector that is inside the rear wing of your car, and if that detects a car next to you whilst you're driving along, the light on whichever side that car is on will come on. And if you were to indicate whilst the car is alongside you, that light will flash and you'll get an audible warning from the car. So it's really useful if you haven't checked your blind spot, maybe you're deep in conversation or you're just being a bit lazy. That is very useful. Now there is a slight negative with this that I find. I'd love to hear if you have the same issue, but I notice that if it's rainy and wet, For some reason, it will pick up nothing. It will say that there's something next to me, and there is absolutely nothing. But at worst, it just makes you check properly your blind spot to make sure that there isn't anything there. But just a strange little bug, that. And the final driver aid that I like, but I have not had a huge amount of use of, luckily, touch wood, is the emergency braking assistance. Now, that has, I believe, 3 different levels. Now, I really don't want you to try and find out how this works. I really wouldn't recommend it, because Nissan do say it is more of a impact reduction rather than it will stop you. So it will lower the speed that you make an impact. Please, like I said, do not try it unless you've got a giant inflatable that you're willing to drive into, as Nissan did in their test video. Now, like I said, there's 3 parts to it. The first one is you will get a beeping sound if you are driving along and the camera on the front windscreen, behind the wing mirror, behind the rear view mirror, if it notices that you have not applied the brakes and the car in front is braking, you will get a beeping noise. If you don't react and don't brake, it will then beep louder, and the center console display will flash red and white, I think it is. That's as far as I've got, and I never noticed because that was me, oh shoot, we've got a brake. The final thing the car will do is it will emergency brake. Apparently, please do not attempt it unless you really are confident or something. Just don't put it on me, basically. So yeah, that's the third thing. The car apparently will brake for you. Again, from what Nissan say, it's not guaranteed to avoid a collision. It will just slow down the car prior to the collision. So if there was a collision, the injuries will be minor and hopefully the damage will be minor. But please do not rely on it. Please. So yeah, that's the 3 driving aids that I really like. And again, the main thing of all 3 of them is it's nice to know they're there, and they are literally what it says. They are an aid to help you drive. At number 2, we're going back to the driving height and position side of things. But for me, I am, as you might be able to tell, I'm quite a tall person. I'm 6.5 foot tall. So what I really like for me is the legroom of the car. All my life I've had hatchbacks, I've had estates, I've had dogs barking, I've also had like little super mini sort of style things, and I've always struggled for legroom because my legs have always been against the steering wheel or just not comfortable, basically. And the thing about the Qashqai is I can get in it and I've got so much legroom. I can lift my legs up and down, which I've never been able to do on any other car. I know you might say, well, that's just the type of car it is. I'm sure if I got into a Volkswagen Tiguan or a Vauxhall Grandland, I'd have the same thing. But personally, this is what this top 5 is. I like the fact that I've got that room. It is really helpful for me. If I go on a long drive, I don't get out the other end aching. I'm really comfortable. And the final top number 1 thing I love about my Qashqai, and I think there might be a few people that agree, I don't know, that is the 360-degree camera. Now, that is on a lot of the models. I think only the bottom model doesn't have it, but it is so useful. I mean, I would say that I'm a pretty good driver. I know we all say that at the end of the day, but the fact that that 360 camera is just that. It's not just the front camera, it's not just the rear camera for when you're reverse parking. You've got the entire bubble around the car. You've got the vision of it, which is brilliant. So the number 1 thing, and I've become really lazy with it, is if I'm parking in a car park, like a supermarket car park, you know, with the bays, with the white lines, before I turn into the space, I hit that camera button because I can look on the 2 side cameras and I can see that the white lines are perfectly each side of the car. I know the car's parked straight. Job done. It's a bit lazy, but that's what it's for. Also, the fact that that 360 camera's got some extra functions, such as it's got a brilliant near side front wheel sort of curb marker, which is brilliant to stop you curbing your wheels. Hasn't helped my wife, but that's a different story. But yeah, it looks down the front near side of the car, and you can pull up near to a curb and you can make sure your wheel doesn't hit it. If you're not sure about that, I have mentioned it in the previous video, but what you need to do is press the camera button a second time once you've pressed it once, and it will switch to that camera. Also, if you're in reverse and you press it once, twice, you will get a widescreen reversing camera, which, you know, it gets rid of the 360 side of things, but you get a widescreen reversing camera if you needed to make sure you were close enough or something like that. It's quite useful. But yeah, that is my number one. I just find it a brilliant feature. I don't know why more cars don't have it, personally. I know some other cars do have it, some other manufacturers use it. I think Kia use it, and I think Mitsubishi use it too. But it's just a brilliant feature. So that's it, guys. That is my top 5 features of my Qashqai. I genuinely would love to know what yours are. I'd love to know if you agree or if you think I've got them in the wrong order. Like I said, a couple of them are very personal in the fact that I'm a tall person, I need a big car. But equally, I'd love to know what you think. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you like it. It's a little bit of a different video. There's nothing, I haven't fixed anything on the Qashqai, I haven't added anything to the Qashqai, but it's a bit different, and I hope you liked it. Either way, drop a like below, subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and I shall see you in the next one.